Okay, so it's the Meoni Shenpai video. Let's watch it.
The following video was shot in Berlin, in Potsdam, Germany, at the Biosphere. This is where we had the media tour for Dawntrail for 2024. I was graced by the presence of Shenpai, and we sat down and we talked to Naoki Yoshida, the producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV, to ask questions limited and based on what we were playing in the demo for the media tour. So everything that we talk about may or may not be representative of the final version of the game. And of course, we obviously went into great lengths to questions that we had already thought about beforehand. So hopefully you enjoy this. This is basically you're about to watch a content creator like myself living the dream. I cannot believe I got another opportunity to ask some questions to the man himself, and I'm eternally grateful to Square Enix for arranging this and the entire thing. It has been a fantastic memory. Cool. That I will never. It's also worth mentioning that the Biosphere, the location that we had the interview, is actually like a jungle area. It's a half zoo, half botanical place. So you will hear birds and people in the background. So for that reason alone, the audio isn't great. I have made sure that since I was not mic'd up, or neither was Shenpai, that we put subtitles for every question that we asked. But of course, all of the answers I've left in as Japanese as well as English for our international viewers. So sit back, get yourself a cushion, get yourself a brew, and have a good time.
まずは最初に、ファイナルファンタジー14のグローバルメディアツアーに参加していただいた本当にありがとうございます。
First of all, thank you for joining us on the global media tour for Final Fantasy XIV.
そして今日このスロットがついに長かったグローバルメディアツアーの最後になります。
And actually, this is the final interview slot for this very long Final Fantasy XIV global media tour.
Oh, he's done. He's about to go home after this.
もちろんね、お二人も朝から参加していただいて疲れてるとは思うんですけど。
Oh, you're gonna catch him. This is gonna be his Friday afternoon energy, isn't it?
楽しくやりたいと思いますので、45分というちょっと短い時間ですが、ぜひよろしくお願いします。
And of course, I know that you've been here right from early in the morning, so you must be tired, but I really would like us to have fun in this interview today.
そして一番大事なこと、
He's chilled out now.
いつもファイナルファンタジー14のサポート本当にありがとうございます。
And of course, the most important thing, thank you for always supporting Final Fantasy XIV.
ではよろしくお願いします。
Okay, we can get started.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity once again. This has been a fantastic demo.
He's so quiet. I can barely hear him in the background. That's why he transcribed the question.
About here is the faceware slot that was added. Are all glasses now turned into faceware? And do scarves also add to this, like face scarves, like the scarf of Wondrous Wit, I think it's called.
Oh yeah, the new faceware slot. I forgot about that. I'm thinking like faceware slot. Is he talking about fashion accessories? No, they've added a new slot. Totally forgot.
Small follow-up to that. Are there any plans to do something similar for fashion accessories with wings, etc.?
Wings.
まずそのフェイスアクセサリーに関してはやっぱりこう。
I want my wings as a mount.
まさに今現実でメガネかけていらっしゃいますけど、やっぱりメガネってその視力を矯正するってだけじゃなくてファッションとしても身につけたいっていうリクエストがすごくあった。ただバトルに行く時にフルフェイスかぶってしまうとメガネがなくなる。キャップだったとしてもメガネがなくなる。ここをなんとかしてほしいっていうリクエストに10年かかってようやくまず答えられるようになったのが今回になります。
So first and foremost, with regards to face accessories, this was something that we developed right from the start with A Realm Reborn. We had glasses, but the glasses gear was just not only providing strength for the eye, but we did receive requests that people would want to use them as fashion accessories. So when they would go into an encounter with full gear on their face, so if they had some gear that fully covers their face, the glasses would be gone, and also if they wore a cap as well, they would no longer be able to use the glasses.
That makes sense.
And this was a request that we did receive, and it took us up until now, so it took us 10 years to address this point.
ちょっと仕様の話になるんですけど、そのフェイスアクセサリーって実は、メガネをかけて、ヘルメットをかぶった時に表示だけオフにするっていう仕組みで、今までは作っていて、つまりキャラクターに含まれるメモリの中には常にメガネがついている状態でメモリが設定されているので、今回その
Because I don't want
見
to
た目の
use
干渉をなんとかなくすっていう方
glasses
法が取れたの
for
で
the
メガネ
slot.
をその表示できるようになったとい
I
うのが
wouldn't
ま
mind
ず実
using
現
a scarf, though.
So in terms of the system specifications for the face accessories, when glasses are worn and then when a helmet is worn, the system is arranged so that the display simply turns off. But in terms of the character memory that's allocated for that, that is switched on. So it's simply a case that we have reached a point where we are able to not have any interference and we are able to display it as an accessory.
ところがファッションアクセサリーっていうのは
What?
できるだけその大きなメモリを使ってできるだけ大きな表現をするために専用に作ったもので、これはメモリを実はスワップしていて、
But can you
例え
use
ば
a
傘の場合
scarf
は武器のメモリを使って傘を
in
表
that
現していて、
slot?
で例えば、他のファッションアクセサリーだとマウントを呼ぶ時のメモリを使って実現するみたいなことをやっているので、常時表示しようとするとマウントが一切呼べないとか、その武器が抜けなくなるとか、いろんななんていうんですか、プレイフィールが今度落ちてしまうので、だからこそ別々のものとして
This is a very
用意されている
long
ので、
response.
多分リクエスト結構難しいんじゃないかなと思います。
But when it comes to dedicated fashion accessories, we have allocated more memory so that we would be able to provide a dedicated appearance for this. And the way that we achieved it is that it swaps existing memory, which is already in the game. So, for example, for a parasol, it uses the weapon memory. And then for weapons, they could use the mount.
No.
Oh, sorry.
For fashion, like wings and things
Oh,
like that.
sorry. Yeah, for wings, they use the mount memory. So if we were to arrange the system so that these would be constantly displayed, the player
Wait, so wings already use the mount memory, so that means they should be able to fly with them, right?
would no longer be able to call forth a mount. And as a result, that would negatively impact the play feel experience. And it's for that reason that we decided on allocating it as just a specific fashion accessory basis.
ただこれもプレイヤーの皆さんの
okay.
ハードウェアのスペックが上がっていけば多分いずれ解決すると思っているので、第2次グラフィックスアップデートがある時には多分実現するんじゃないかなと思います。
So right now, technically, it is difficult, but once there is an advancement in the player's playing environment and they have a more advanced playing environment, then possibly we could incorporate that into the next graphical update.
Oh, so in 10 years.
I guess I'll tie into it as well.
Okay.
The question I had.
I think the way he understood the question was like, can you have the glasses plus a fashion accessory? But I think the question was, what is going to qualify to put, what types of stuff can we put in that slot going forward?
Is that with the die
Besides
checks being
glasses. Only
implemented,
glasses? Probably.
A big question constantly gets brought up, especially when it comes to Glamour Dresser and all
Okay.
that stuff, because it gets compared pretty
Glamour dressers.
often. If there's a future where the Glamour system gets improved, so like people can constantly get to their glamours without having to be at a Glamour Dresser.
Oh, yes. Yes. The portable glamour dresser. That's what you need.
As well as a more customizable character now that you're done with creating new races and stuff. New races.
Why did he laugh at that part? When he heard, now that you're done with creating new races, and he snickered a little bit, like he was like snickering and like giggling. Oh?
The question is because, especially
Is he not done?
in character creator, a lot of people are upset that specific things are tied to faces, like
Is he not done?
especially Aura with their horns, or other such things. If there's any future if there could be any improvements.
Great question. It's actually two questions, but they're both really good questions. One question, portable glamour dresser. I want pocket mirror, maybe fashion accessory pocket mirror that you use that glamour dresser wherever you go. And the other question being, let's not tie big facial features like aura horns to the faces. Yeah, great. Or Vieira with the types of tattoos you can have on your face. That would also be nice to be unlinked. That's a lot.
その予定はありますかって聞かれると、まずそもそもやりたいのはやりたいんですよ。僕だってプレイヤーの皆さんのリクエストは分かるし、もうやっぱ長年リクエストもらってることでもあるか
I
ら、
could see them adding the wolf race, the
やれる
lupin.
んだったらやりたいっていうのが答えで、ただ今やれてないのには結構明確なそれらには理由がそれぞれあります。
So if you were to ask me whether there are any plans for this, of course I myself want to do it because I do know that there are player requests and a lot of players have requested this over time. However, there are a few reasons why we cannot do it.
Okay.
まずファイナルファンタジー14は、MMO の中で
I
も
actually think I do know
プ
why.
レイヤーキャラクターに紐づく、アイテムっていうのがめちゃくちゃ多いゲーム
Because
で
of
す。
spaghetti code.
So with Final Fantasy XIV as an MMO, are a huge number of items tied to the player character.
で常にいつでもミラージュプリズムできるってなった場合、当然皆さんのものすごく大事なギアにいわゆるサーバーアクセスしなきゃいけない。でそのギアからこっちのギアにその見た目を移す時って必ずサーバー通信を伴います。
So when you would want to use a glamour prism to change your glamour, you would be referring to the gear and there would be an access that's made to the server. And so when you would want to change the appearance of that gear, it would involve server communication.
でこれをどこでもできるっていうふうに考えると、実は皆さんのバッグの中以外にそのミラージュドレッサーの中に入ってるデータも皆さんには見えないんだけど、全部持って歩いてる状態になるんですね。
So when you want to be able to do this anywhere, this is actually kind of not in front, but it's kind of behind the scenes. But all of the items in your glamour dresser, you are actually holding them.
それがものすごいサーバーストレスになるのと、データをものすごい頻度でやり取りすることになるので、デュプリケートしてしまったり、ロストしてしまったりっていう危険性が上がるので。
So when you access your glamour dresser, it's like you're accessing hundreds of items all at once. And I think that the in room represents sort of a safe mode for the game. And so if everybody were able to access their glamour dressers all at once, outside the server will crash. I'm pretty sure that's the problem. Is there not another way to go about this? Surely there's gotta be some other way, right? Like, they would have to recode it. Yeah. Okay.
それらをそうしないようにセーフティーな処理を作ろうとするとますますサーバーに負荷がかかるので、実際今の、プレイヤー数、それからサーバーでやり取りしているパケットの物量っていうことを考えると、これ以上データ量を増やすのは正直言うと物理的に結構限界に来てます。
So when you would go through that process, it would increase the amount of server stress, and that would also increase the amount of data communication that's required. And when such a large amount of data is being handled in that way, there is a risk of data duplication or data loss. So then we would need to consider a safer option in order to carry out the processing. When we consider the current number of players and also the packets which are on the server.
I have an idea. I have an idea. I know what we can do. Okay. My idea is to have a button you can press that teleports your character into the in room and back. This way, like instead of clicking on the NPC that says, would you like to go to the in room? Have a button on your hotbar that does that exact thing so that no matter where you are in the world, you can teleport you inside there. You can do your and then press another button that lets you leave. Yep, I have solved it. I have solved this problem.
It's unfortunately physically impossible for us to
Yeah.
increase the amount of communication.
You're welcome.
まあでも
You are
そ
welcome.
れでも僕ら
It's
サ
the
ーバー
exact same system. Just let you get in there fast.
の性能を上げたりとかできるだけプログラムを最適化することで
Yes, like the in-room ether eye ticket.
少しずつで
Correct.
きるエリアとか
Correct.
範囲は広げてきたのでちょっとそれをまた引き続き地道に続けさせて
In and out.
もらえると嬉しいです。
But we have been looking at increasing the processing ability of the server and also
Solved.
our efficiencies. So it would be appreciated if you could let us take time on this and work on it.
であとはまあその角の形を自由に変えたいとか角の大きさを自由に変えたいとかいうのも、まあ、実は今やっぱり基本的には同じ問題でパラメーターがさらに多くなれば多くなるほどサーバーでやり取りしなきゃいけないデータっていうのは増えるのと皆さんが例えばここに5人行ったとしてもこの間でものすごいデータのやり取りをすることになるのでそれがパラメータ増えるとますます1データのやり取り自体がめちゃくちゃ増えてやっぱラグの原因になったりとかそうなってしまうのでやっぱ慎重にしなきゃいけないのでなかなか増やせないっていうのが正直現実なところです。ただ繰り返し言いますけどやりたくないわけじゃないので頑張ります。
So when it comes to player requests for possibly changing the shape of horns or changing the size of them, we are encountering the same problem. They involve more parameters and it would involve a more communication of data on the server. So let's say we
Here's somebody's phone going off in the background and they have that ringtone that sounds like you're getting up to accept your Oscar. Have y'all heard this ringtone? I'll laugh every time I hear this ringtone because it literally sounds like you're about to go do your acceptance speech.
We have, we have 5 people here, and just between these 5 people, it involves so much data that would be used. So there would be so many parameters involved that it would be a cause of lag. And as a result of this, we need to be really careful about how we approach this. But I just want to reiterate myself.
The horns will crash the servers also. If they let you use horns 1 with phase 4, it will literally crash the server.
Want to make it clear that I'm not saying that I don't want to do it. I really do want to try my best and see what's possible.
Okay.
One thing I noticed with the mounts in particular in the demo is
In the demo,
beautiful new glide animations.
Ah,
that you
thanks.
were placing.
beautiful new glide.
The Griffin, the Chocobo Araman, and
Oh yeah. I forgot to check that too. Or maybe I flew around a little bit, but I forgot to check that. My bad.
they're fantastic. Are there any other types
Whoops.
of special animation planned for other mounts? For example, I would love to see your character sort of struggling to hold on, but having an animation where they possibly nearly fall off.
He loves that idea.
多分やると思います。
I think we'll probably do it.
で、
He loves that idea and he wants to do it.
すでに存在す
Let's have a mount where your character is just barely
る
hanging.
ぶら下がるっていうマウントでも、マウントが傾いたときにプレイヤーが遅れて傾くとか引っ張られるみたいなのは、対応されてる多分 7.0 で対応され始めてるものもあるし、ただマウントの数も多いんで全部一気にやるわけにはいかないので、多分皆さんが気づかない間にパッチでどんどんそういうのが入っていくと思うので、ちょっと楽しみにしててください。
And yeah, there are mounts where maybe you're kind of clinging on to
like the,
the mount, and when the mount moves, then there
Veneer
will be some lag
robot.
of time, but then the player would also move in that direction or tilt to that direction. So not all of the mounts have been worked on, but starting from 7.0, we are working on these kinds of mounts as well.
Cool.
So probably before players even notice it, in each new patch, there will be these kinds of adjustments made to the mounts.
Awesome. That's a good suggestion.
Okay, this is like a personal and curious thought of mine, especially now that we ended up reaching the big 100 in levels. The idea is probably already circulating in future expansions about how the progression and the levels and the abilities are going to come into play. And it's probably really difficult to decide what to do because a lot of people are worried that it's going to become bloated. And the question is just if you guys already have a plan for that, or if you're still thinking about what to do with it.
そのものズバリを今答えるわけにはい
Yeah,
か
the
ないの
button
で、
bloat as they add more and
どう
more
考えているかだ
buttons.
けお話しま
Well,
す。
I think what they're probably going to do.
Of course, I
shut up.
can't really provide you a direct answer of what we're going to do, but I would like to give you a little bit of insight into what along the lines of what I'm thinking.
Okay.
単純にこのままレベルキャップを上げ続けてプレイヤーのステータスが上昇すると結局のところまたいつかどっかでデノミネーションをするということになってしまうのはまさにその通りです。
So simply put, if we just increase the level cap and we increase pushing up the player's stats, then we will reach another point where we would have to do the delimitation of values.
でそれが例えば次の拡張で限界が来るのかその次の拡張で限界が来るのかっていうところは、僕らは計算できるので、大体予想はついてるんですけどやっぱさすがにそんなにデノミネーションっていうことをやるべきじゃないなとは思ってますまず。
And of course, with regards to the question of whether we would reach that point with the next patch or whether we would reach it at the patch after that, we can calculate, so we can kind of forecast roughly when we would get to that point. But I think simply repeating that process of delimitation itself is not the way we should proceed.
で今我々開発チームが考えているのは一番大事なのはレベルじゃなくてどうやってプレイヤーの皆さんがその成長を感じられるかっていうところが一番大事なことだと思っているのでその成長をどう作っていくべきかそれには本当いろんな方法があると思います。
So what we are thinking about in the development team is not simply just leveling up, but how to kind of incorporate a sense of growth for the player character and how to create that. That's one area which we are really working on.
What?
例えば
So they're thinking about how do we make you feel a sense of progression without leveling up? What if we don't level up in the next expansion? What if it's something else?
アビリティポイントみたいなものを
Oh, like how Elder Scrolls Online does it, where you reach a certain level, and then after that you get champion points, and they accumulate on all your characters.
稼いで
Maybe
自
something
分
like
の好き
that.
なアビリティにポイントを振ること
Ability
で
points.
自分の好きなアビリティを強化するそれ
It
によ
sounded
っ
like what
て
he said.
そのアビリティのアニメーションがさらにパワーアップしたりとか威力が上がったりこういうのも成長の一つだと思う。
Let's say, for example, there's a system where you would accumulate ability points. And this is just an example.
He's like, just for example, we're totally not working on this, but just hypothetically, what if we did
So
example
the
only?
player would have the option to allocate those ability points for whatever ability they would like to use them on.
What?
And when they use those ability points, maybe that would enhance the ability so that there would be a change of animation, or maybe the potency of that ability would go.
That would be insane to put that in Final Fantasy XIV. Are you serious? To actually be customizing your job and have it change the animation based on a point?
Up.
でそれ
No way. No way.
以外にも、例えばタレントと呼ばれる別ラインの例えば
If they were going to do that, then it would probably end up being that you get 10 ability points and then everybody, by the end, everybody unlocks all the points. That's probably what I would imagine, but it's still a cool approach.
ドラグーンのタレントっていうのが別
Maybe
に
you
用
can
意
just
され
decide
てい
which
て
one you get
これの
first.
どのタレントを育てていく
Through
か
the leveling
みたいな
process.
レベルはもう100で上がらないんだけど
It's all hypothetically,
さらに
of course,
各ジョブをパワーアップさせるような成長要素があるっていうのも例えばその成長の方
Example
法
is
だ
exactly for me, yes.
と思うのでそういうものが必
Yes,
要になるよ
it's
ねって
for
いうのは
me
真剣に今
to
まさに議論し
not
ている
go
ところです。
crazy. here.
And another example could be
Another example.
talents. So for Dragoon, there could be a line of talent which you could use to cultivate your character.
But what if you get a talent on Dragoon that lets you jump even higher than you jumping?
So the level would not be rising. And once again, this is just an
wow, that would be so cool.
example. But we
Just for example. But what if your Dragoon jumps high up? What if you jump onto the boss's head?
are very hard at work right now discussing these possibilities,
Cool.
looking toward what to do next.
That would be so badass. What if there was specs? Right? Okay, you pick a jumpy Dragoon spec, or you pick a stabby Dragoon spec, or, well, tank spec for Dragoon. Okay. Well, let's not get too crazy.
Referring to what you said at PAX East,
Dragon spec, where you summon the dragons, like the blue dragon stuff. That would be really badass too. I can think of all of ways.
also this morning in your presentation, how you want to increase rewards such as mounts and many other things for players to collect by
Turn into a
1.5
dragon.
times.
Okay, next question. Referring to what you said at PAX East, how you mentioned you wanted to increase rewards. Are there plans to make use of achievement certificates? Oh, you want to give Jonathan his job back?
Yeah.
Because right now he doesn't even do anything. You click on it in your achievement
Are there
window.
any plans to make use of achievements?
It's a good question. Really good question.
Because currently achievement certificates, there isn't that many things to actually purchase from.
That's a good
Jonathan,
question.
I think it is, in
We need more achievement
そっ
stuff.
ちにももちろんそのリワードを増やすコストを使ってさらにそっちにも増やすってことを、まあ、毎パッチやるわけにもいかないと思うので何回に1パッチかはそっちのリワードも増やしていこうと思うので、そっちも期待してもらっていいと思います。
Of course, we have factored that in. So we are increasing our resources so that we will be able to increase the rewards for that. Of course, we're not in a position where we would be able to do it in every patch, but we would like to have that increase every few patches or so.
あと
More
は今
gear.
回北米のメディアツアー側で
More
アチーブメントポイントランキングをやってほしいっていうリクエストもあったので。
And this time in the North American media tour, there was a request for an achievement point ranking.
なので、
Achievement
まあ、ア
point
チーブメントに関わるやっぱりこう遊びだったりアチーブメントを
I
取
bet
っていくこと
they'll do
によってもっといろんなことができたりいろんなものがもらえたりっていうところは結構リクエストとしてあるんだなっていうのを改めて確認したので、まあ、戻ってそのあたりの振り分けっていうのもしっかりイメージしておこうかなと思います。
So based on that, I have found out that there are requests for maybe more forms of play involving achievements,
Yes.
or people would want to do more with them.
FC
So we would
achievements,
like to consider this as
maybe?
well.
Okay, next
I'm
question.
about to get into a little bit of a iffy topic. There is, I mean, we've had implemented
New data centers.
as well as DC travel. Unfortunately, while it is a very good thing, it has some very negative side effects because I'm from the Crystal DC, and now that we have DC travel, data centers like Crystal or even in Europe, they become barren. Like all the PFs, they don't exist anymore. And it is expected of players to now go to a different DC to raid because that's where
Yeah,
all
so this question was also asked at the Q&A at the NA media tour.
the people.
So he's definitely well aware of the
And the
problem.
question is if there is a future
Yeah.
where there might be cross DC
No.
party
That's why he's heard this question before and he knows that it's very difficult for them to
Because it is
implement.
unfortunate that
right now.
DCs are dead now, and people are expected to go.
He knows the problem and you can tell he wants to
go to
solve it, but it,
Aether and can't do anything on their home world. For example, I'm an Ultimate Raider, and I spent 3 to 4 weeks on Aether without being able to do anything just because I was raiding over there. I assume it's probably not possible, but it is unfortunately a problem when it comes to PF and Party Fighter specifics.
問題はも
yeah.
ちろん認識しています。今一番早くそれを解決するのは もう DC ト
Looking
ラベ
at
ルを
what
閉
he
鎖する
said
のが
when
多
he
分
was
一番
asked
早
that
い。
question at our media tour.
Of course, I am aware of the problem, and I
Yeah.
think the fastest solution would be to close off DC travel.
Oh my god.
ただ
Oh! Wait, never mind. It's not a problem. Actually, you know what? It's fine. It's okay. I don't mind traveling. I love data center traveling. Yoshi-P. It's okay. I love, getting to meet other people in other data centers. It's awesome. So, I wouldn't worry about it too much. What's the next question?
なんかやっぱり「ファイナルファンタジー14」って
Next
レイドをする人たちためだけのゲームではないので、僕は本当は最終的には全ての DC の垣根も全てのワールドの垣根もなくしたいって思ってるし、絶対それが理想だとは当然
It's
思ってま
literally
す。
like, if y'all can't handle the data center travel, I will turn this car around.
So of course, Final Fantasy XIV is not a game solely for raiders, but I really would like to aim to kind of get rid of any disparity between all DCs and all worlds.
で先に
Yes.
パーフェクトパーティーファインダーと呼ぼうが、考えてないわけじゃないし議論もしてるんですけど、
He said, I would like to get rid of the disparities between all DCs and all worlds. Does that basically confirm we're definitely going to get the region travel with
物
Dawntrail?
理的に相当難しい。おそらく真正面から開発すると3年はかかる。
So of course, it's not like I haven't thought about a perfect party finder. We have been discussing it, but from a technical perspective, it is almost close to impossible
Yeah.
to achieve.
That's what he
so
told
if
us.
we just went straight on ahead with the development full force, it would take about 3 years.
That's what he told us too.
Ta-da.
That's the same thing he told. He said if we diverted all of our resources to creating this, it will take us 3 years of work to do cross DC party finder and like cross DC, like everything. It would take 3 years. So obviously that can't work.
やっぱ3年も待てないじゃないですか。
But of course, you cannot wait for 3 years, right?
なので今、実はこのメディアツアーに出てる間に1個ちょっと思いついたアイデアがあるので、それをエンジニアと話
It
し合って。
seems like it's partially a communication problem with the players on the other DCs, and it's partially a problem of getting you all into the same instance quickly, right? I feel like maybe they could start by improving the communication between players. But I don't know. That seems like maybe use the companion app. Like maybe use that for something useful, which could be PFs. Let me look at all the PFs. Let me view all PFs on the app. Maybe. And then when I see it's on the app, I'll try to go over there before it fills. It's not a good solution, but
でもしその方向で実現できるなら少なくとも3年は絶対かからな
I'm
いと思う
trying
の
to
で、
trying
ま
to
ずこれ
think
は
of
トライして
something
みたいと思ってる
creative
のが一つ。
because
But one thing I'd like to share is that during this media tour, I did remember one possibility, and I would like to talk to the engineers about this.
Oh, he
I
thought of a
think at the very least, if this possibility works out, it would not take 3 years. So I would like to try it out.
he's thought of
た
something
だそれを
because we
やる
asked
に
him
して
at
もやっぱり1
NA
年
and then he's been thinking about it since the whole time, and then he got asked again at EU and he had an idea in his time. He could fix it.
年とか1年半ぐらいはかかってしまうと思うので、その間じゃあどうするっていう問題がやっぱりつきまとう。で当然開発チーム内ではいろんなアイデアが出ていて、もう今回はこのデータセンターがレイドおすすめですみたいな、リワードがちょっと増えますとか。
So even then, it would probably take about 1 year to 1.5 years
It would take
to do.
1 year
So
still.
still then we would have to consider what would we do in that time. And the development team have come up with various ideas.
Oof.
One idea was maybe promoting a specific DC for raids. So for example, for that DC,
Lean into the idea. Oh, that's smart. Promote a DC for rating.
you would get higher rewards.
So that way you don't feel bad when you're forced to go over there because everybody gets better rewards for rating. Oh, it's. But then.
で例えば次のパッチが来たらそのレイド
That's crazy.
推奨 DC はここですとか
But then the server's going to be totally screwed when there's an expansion launch. There's no way the server's going to be handled at capacity. Oh my god.
And then when the next patch comes along, this DC would be recommended for raids.
それかパーティー募集が少ない DC の場合は自動的にその少なさが解消されるまでボーナスがかかるとかもういろんなアイデア出てるんですけど
And then on the other hand, there could be an idea where for certain DCs where there are low recruitment.
Like, what about the people that are on those DCs already that don't want all that extra traffic? Because we have another problem where when there's too many people in an area, you cannot go into the area anymore. And what if there's so many people going to the DC that you can't even leave your house? Like, you can actually get trapped inside your house if there's too many people in a
For
district.
Party Finder, you could get a
don't
bonus
know.
for that. So there are various ideas that have come up.
ただ結局のところこれをやるとそのどっかの DC に必ず負荷をかけてることになるしデータセンター移動することを推
Yeah,
奨
what
し
if
て
it
るので
recommends Dynamis?
どうなんだろうっていうので今も議論中ですここは。
But if we do this, it would end up placing greater stress on a given
That's what
DC.
yeah.
And it would also be promoting DC travel. So
That's what I said.
I'm not sure what we should be doing.
だってそれをやったらさますますねレイドやる人この DC にじゃあもう固まるってなるとその DC でレイドやらない人たちにとってはまたログインできないというかログイン待ちが長いとかストレスになっちゃうんで
I don't know.
ちょっとねそうなんです頭が痛いけど
He seems so tired.
それぐらい真剣に考えてるのでなんとか解決策はひねり出してみようと思います。
And so let's say that we do implement that, and then for a certain DC, all the raiders would gather there, and the people who play on that DC and who aren't raiders, they would be thinking, "Oh man, I'm having trouble. I can't log in. I'm having long waiting times
That's
to
what I'm
get in,"
saying, yeah.
and that would lead to their stress. So when I think about it,
It's actually-
my head hurts thinking about it, but I really do want to rack my brains and reach a solution.
ちなみに今の質問でだいぶ僕の残りヒットポイント少なくなってます。
How can we solve this problem? Like I solved the glamour dresser problem already. Okay, so my solution is we use the companion app. And we use the companion app to view all of the PFs on every server. Okay. And when you find a PF you want to join, the Moogle will go and like be a placeholder for your spot for like 1 minute. If the party leader agrees. Okay, the party leader is going to get a pop-up that's like, a Moogle wants to save someone's spot. And they say yes or no. And then if they say yes, then you have like 1 minute to DC travel over to their PF.
クリティカルダイレクトヒットしてる。
Apply to join through the app.
By the way, with this one question, you've knocked out quite a lot of my HP, so I don't have much left. It really
Oh my
was a
god, another critical hit.
direct hit.
Yes.
Hey, that's what I just said.
I'm so sorry.
That's what I just said. It's hilarious.
The texture updates for
Am I already critical hitting SGP?
clothing are fantastic, as
Thank
well
you.
as foliage in the world. It just feels so much better. Like 10
Yes.
years playing this game,
It's so
Oh,
pretty.
really?
It's so beautiful, y'all. I want you to see it.
My question is,
And not on like the not on just media tour footage. You need to see it on your monitor in its full glory. It is honestly will bring a tear to your eye. It is so gorgeous.
firstly,
The
is there any
clothing
way
and
to
lighting
get
and
foliage for the outside of
It's so
the
pretty.
house, so you could change it from just green grass
Oh.
to something else with all of those flowers, rather than you taking up a slot of housing. And also the other point is, are housing items
yeah, add more foliage to the residential districts. That's a good idea.
まずちょっと待ってくださいね。芝を自然草に多分切り替えるのはできなくはない。できなくはない。
So firstly, when it comes to the grass, it is probably possible to change it to natural grass.
The more fluffy
そ
grass.
れは多分できる。ただ
I want my Ishgard to be more snowy. That's what I want. I
ちょっと
want really
計算してみ
snowy
ないとわからない
Ishgard。district.
ハウジングはそのできるだけアイテムを置ける数を増やしたいと思ってかなり一つ一つのオブジェクトに対してのそのデータ制限が強い
Oh,
の
when's the
で
game fest?
果たして
When is Summer Game
自動
Fest? Is that right
自動
now?
草だったらいけんのかなちょっと計算してみないとやっぱ正しいことは言えないけど
Is that starting in like a minute?
できなくはないと思います
Oh my god, it's starting
So
in
I
2
think
minutes.
we would need to calculate to find out. So for housing, we
Yeah, I
want
wanna
to
watch-
incorporate it so that we can place more items, but there are quite a lot of strong data restrictions on the items.
I don't think there's
so
many
I think
questions
if we
left. Like, we're
switch it
almost
to
done.
automatic
So I'll just be a
grass,
little
it
late.
might work, but I think we need to do the calculations. But I can't say that it's not a zero chance. It might work.
ただ例えばペイントブラシのようなものでこのエリアだけふさふさにしたいとかその家の中でもこの天井だけの一部だけをみたいなのは多分難しいんじゃないかな、それが多分難しいこのパネル全体をとかならできる気がする
Let me fast forward.
But when it comes to kind of like a paintbrush effect, so you would apply it just to one part in the house. So like maybe you would look at the ceiling and you would apply that to a certain part of the ceiling. I think that would be difficult. But on the other hand, if it would be applied to maybe one total panel, then that might be a possibility.
Okay. It's almost started. It hasn't started yet, so we got a minute.
戻ったらハウジングにはハウジングのアーティスト兼ハウジングのテクニカルアーティストでハウジングの全ての仕様とメモリを司っているハウジング士みたいなやつがいるんでそいつとちょっと話してみます
So when I go back to Japan, we have a member in our staff who is a housing artist, and they also work as a housing technical artist.
Oh.
So they really have a thorough knowledge of all of the specifications related to housing. So I'd like to have a little chat with them.
That's a good
で
idea.
ももう一つ言ってなかったあれなんかハウジングアイテムにもグラフィックスアップデート適用されるのみたいなこと言ってなかったっけ
そうですね
言ってたよね
言ってました
ハウジングアイテムに関しては今、やっぱり話したようにすごい厳密にメモリ計算してで今我々がやってる作業は室内に配置できるアイテムの数を増やそうっていうのが一つでもう一つ柱のない家に中身を取り替えられるようにしようっていうのを優先的にやってるので多分これらが落ち着いてからじゃない
About
と
the housing?
そのグラフィックスアップデートをさらにハウジングのパーツにまで入れるっていうのは難しいかもしれないちょっと順番を待ってほしい
So when it comes to the point of applying the graphical update for housing items, as I mentioned, we have quite strict memory calculations that we are carrying out. And currently we are working towards increasing the number of items that can be placed in the house. And also we are working towards
It's live.
a system where when you have a house with no pillars, you would be able to automatically replace the content in that house. So we would
Can you
first like to
update
focus
the-
on these 2 points, and then we would be able to consider the next one. So we would appreciate it if we could address this in order first.
Okay.
ごめんねちょっと今計算しちゃってるんだよ
Sorry, I'm actually calculating right now.
He's literally sitting there
Demo.
calculating this
面
stuff.
白いアイデアだなって
Okay.
But I do think it's an interesting idea.
コントロールか。まあでも面白いなでも。
Man, I hope
で
he
も
gets some
そうやって
rest
すごい
after
感じに
this.
情熱を
It
注いでくれ
seems
ていて、
like
それが
quite
ゆ
a
えにこう14の世
doozy.
界がすごい豊かになってて、まあ、例えば日本でもみんなで協力して一つの
Yeah, I
ストーリ
think
ー
this
と
is the last
日本のいわゆるお
question
祭り
too.
夏祭りみたいなのをやってくれる人たちも多いし、本当になんだろう、ある意味素晴らしいコンテンツに皆さんのおかげでな
Let's
っていると思ってるん
just
で、
clear. Let's just finish
今みたいな
it.
フィードバックっていうのにはやっぱりできるだけ答えていきたいので、ちょっと楽しみにお待ちください。
But yeah, I think it's precisely because there's so much passion towards housing in Final Fantasy XIV that we can work towards making the world of Final Fantasy XIV richer. And to give you one example from Japan, in Japan, everyone collaborated together to decorate a street so that it looked like what we would say matsuri, so a Japanese festival, and it looked like a summer festival that you would see in Japan. So I think it's in that. It's really amazing content, and I really would want to try my best to respond to the player feedback. So I do hope you look forward to future updates.
Awesome.
いや、じゃあ大
Great
丈夫だな
interview.
俺のヒットポイン
Really
トがな
great
くなる。
interview.